Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Pamela Anderson? She is the topic of the Netflix documentary, Pamela, A Love Story. Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of Pamela Anderson, then I'll move to my analysis. Pamela Anderson was born in Ladysmith, British Columbia, Canada, on July 1, 1967. This was the 100th anniversary of the official founding of Canada. She was actually in the news and referred to as a centennial baby. Pamela's mother, Carol, was a waitress. Pamela's father, Barry, repaired furnaces for a living. In the documentary, Pamela described her father as a poker player. She has one brother who is 4 years younger. Pamela indicated that her parents were young when they married and frequently argued. There were disagreements that sometimes became physical. Pamela was the victim of repeated assaults of a sexual nature, starting at the age of 6 and continuing for 4 years. The perpetrator was a female babysitter. On one occasion, Pamela tried to stab her with a candy cane pen. The babysitter later died in a motor vehicle collision. Pamela would later say that she felt guilty because she wanted her babysitter to die, and that's exactly what happened. Pamela was victimized again by other perpetrators when she was 12 and when she was 14. In 1985, Pamela Anderson graduated from high school. 3 years later, she moved to Vancouver and found work as a fitness instructor. In 1989, she was hired as a model for a brewing company after they saw her at a football game. Not long after this, she was invited to appear in Playboy magazine and traveled to Los Angeles for the photo shoot. She found the experience to be liberating. She would end up in the magazine several more times. She was on the cover more times than any other model in the history of the magazine. After the first photo shoot, Pamela decided that she would make Los Angeles her home. She wanted to be known for something more than showing off her body, and she dreamed of being an actress. She found work on the ABC sitcom Home Improvement as the character Tool Time Girl. Pamela would later claim that Tim Allen, who was the star of the show, showed her his genitalia on the first day of filming, as if he was expanding the interpretation of the term tool time. Tim Allen denied Pamela's accusation. After 2 seasons, Pamela left Home Improvement to take another role, one that would make her famous. She was cast as C.J. Parker on Baywatch. Pamela played that character for 5 seasons, with her time on the show coming to an end in 1997. 3 years before this, in 1994, Pamela was cast in a starring role in the movie Raw Justice. In 1996, she was in the movie Barbed Wire, which was a commercial and critical failure. She returned to television in 1998 and spent 4 years on the show VIP. In 2005, Pamela was on a TV sitcom called Stacked for 2 seasons. It was about a young woman who was tired of the party lifestyle and decided to take a job in a bookstore. So they were trying to use the word stacked in more than one way. It was an attempt to be clever. 19 episodes were produced over 2 seasons, but the show was so bad, the last 5 episodes were never aired. Some people believe that the show killed Pamela Anderson's career. She has been active in a number of other projects since the show, but has never recaptured the success she had in her early career. As far as Pamela's romantic life, she married Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee on February 19, 1995. The couple had met just 4 days earlier. They eventually had 2 sons, Brandon and Dylan. The marriage between Pamela and Tommy Lee was not peaceful. Tommy Lee was sentenced to 6 months in jail for attacking Pamela. They divorced in 1998. Pamela married the singer Kid Rock on July 18, 2006. She filed for divorce in November of that same year. Pamela knew right away that Kid Rock didn't have what she was looking for. According to Pamela, the couple didn't have the height or the frenzy she was used to. It sounds like there just wasn't enough excitement. On October 6, 2007, Pamela married a poker player named Rick Solomon. Pamela claimed that he used drugs. This was something that she would not accept. On December 13, just 2 months after their marriage, the couple separated. Pamela would later say that she remarried Rick in January 2014. They divorced in April 2015. On January 20, 2020, Pamela married a Hollywood producer. They separated just a few days later. On December 24, 2020, 53-year-old Pamela married a 40-year-old handyman named Dan Hayhurst, who she had hired to work on her house in Canada. This was marriage number 6 for her. It ended in January 2022. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts in a few areas that stood out to me after watching the Netflix documentary about Pamela Anderson. Item number 1. Pamela's relationship with Tommy Lee appeared to be doomed from the start. For one thing, it involved Tommy Lee. In addition, Pamela said that she used ecstasy when she met Tommy Lee in Cancun just 4 days before they married. Ecstasy can lead a person to feel as though they have a strong emotional connection to other people. This may have contributed to the pair forming a powerful bond to one another. Their love affair appeared to be unusually intense and erratic. Based on what Pamela said in the documentary, Tommy Lee was jealous. He would make his way to her trailer when she was filming Baywatch, almost like he was a stalker. One time when she kissed another actor as part of a scene, she didn't tell Tommy Lee. Pamela said that when he found out, he trashed her trailer. It put everyone on the set of Baywatch on edge, and it seemed like something worse was going to happen. Which brings me to item number 2. In February 1998, Tommy Lee kicked Pamela Anderson in the back when she was holding her 7-week-old son, Dylan. She broke a nail and had red marks on her. Tommy Lee eventually went to jail for felony spousal abuse. He wrote letters from jail to Pamela, desperately trying to reconcile. During an interview, Tommy Lee made it seem as though he did not know how to deal with not being a number one priority in Pamela's life. Pamela filed for divorce just a few days after Tommy Lee attacked her. Clearly, Pamela still believed that she loved Tommy Lee, but she recognized that there was no way she could be with him. This was a mature and almost certainly correct decision. Pamela chose wisely to protect herself and her sons from a dangerous offender. Item number 3. One of the themes in the documentary is how Pamela has not had success in her love life. She indicated that she always wanted a consistent and stable man, but said that she was attracted to masculine men. I think it would be more accurate to say that she was attracted to high sensation-seeking men. Pamela appeared to have some type of nostalgia for her relationship with Tommy Lee. She said that she was never able to get over not making it work with the father of her children. This is why she bailed out of other relationships. I'd be surprised if this was the reason for Pamela's relationships failing. I think a more logical explanation is that she was very attracted to passionate love, characterized by excitement, thrills, and adventure, and bored with companionate love, which is a stable but not exhilarating type of love. Pamela probably would have had more success, or at least avoided getting married so many times, if she took the time to get to know men before she married them. It's difficult for any marriage to succeed if the people getting married don't really understand each other or have any idea what to expect in the relationship. One thing I find interesting about Pamela's dilemma with Tommy Lee, like she loves him but knows that she can't be with him, is what this means for her other ex-husbands. Essentially, she is saying that no one ever lived up to Tommy Lee, the guy who kicked her in the back while she was holding an infant. So even with the standards set that low, none of the other ex-husbands were good enough. That probably is not going to help increase the self-esteem levels for Pamela's ex-husbands. At the end of the documentary, Pamela offered some advice about marriage, saying the best way to get married is to tell people you will never marry them. For Pamela's sake, I hope she doesn't tell anyone else that she will never marry them. Item number 4. As I mentioned, Pamela's 6th marriage was to a handyman named Dan Hayhurst, who she met when he was working on her house. Reportedly, at the time Pamela met Dan, he was in a 4-year relationship with a woman. The couple was raising children together. This woman accused Pamela of seducing Dan and taking him away from his family. If this is true, it makes Pamela appear manipulative, like she was using her star power to intrude on an existing relationship. Item number 5. One theme of the documentary is how Pamela was hurt by an incident involving a sex tape. When she was with Tommy Lee, someone took a safe from their house. Initially, they didn't even know it was stolen. The safe contained VHS tapes which featured Pamela and Tommy Lee having sex. Eventually, the content of those tapes was released and earned various people millions of dollars, but Pamela did not make any money from it. She filed a lawsuit, but eventually dropped it. Pamela made it seem as though this tape deteriorated her image. From this point on, she was viewed as just an object. Her career was over. Pamela was certainly a victim in this incident, but I'm not sure that the release of the video fully explains the demise of her career. She was already being treated like an object prior to the release of the video. In addition, Pamela really didn't do herself any favors through her attempts at acting. She was not a good actress. She makes Megan Fox look like Meryl Streep. It's clear in the documentary that Pamela is resentful that she didn't earn money from the release of the video, but at the same time she acts as though it was a matter of principle not to accept money. Item number 6. People have many different opinions about Pamela Anderson. Some people view her as a victim at the hands of men, a person who was so attractive that she was constantly targeted by men. Others see Pamela in a different light. They view her as someone who made a living manipulating men. From the documentary, Pamela appeared to be a surprisingly complex individual. Pamela appears to be invested in fantasy. She is creative, sensitive, and sentimental. She is also fearless, has a decent work ethic, and a good sense of humor. There is a sense that Pamela is somewhat conflicted. One theme in her life is how she can't quite get what she wants. Pamela wants a stable romantic relationship, but is attracted to men who are harmful. She wants an acting career, but does not have the talent for that field. And she wanted to make money as a model, but was upset about being objectified. Moving to the final item, number 7. The mission of the documentary was to humanize Pamela Anderson, to make her more relatable and a more sympathetic character. I believe that the documentary was successful for the most part in this regard. It paints Pamela as a complex and sensitive individual who had her fair share of struggles. Some of her problems were caused by her bad judgment, but others were caused by people trying to take advantage of her. There are, of course, those who will look at the documentary and say this is just one more attempt by Pamela to manipulate people. Now she's playing the victim while saying that she is not a victim. I think it's reasonable to believe that Pamela can be the victim of manipulation and a manipulator at the same time. Sometimes people become manipulative in response to being the victim of manipulators. Perhaps that is what happened in the case of Pamela Anderson. She was such an easy target for so many unkind people that she adapted and developed a way to fight back. Those are my thoughts on the case of Pamela Anderson. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.